Hello, everybody, and welcome to our iconic 2024 session. My name is Emmanuel, and I am the technical training manager here at Vagaro. We've got a great session for you today, but first, a little housekeeping. There are iconic 24 sessions on Mondays throughout September. Attend 3 of the iconic 24 sessions for a chance to win an exclusive giveaway. For today's session, post in the chat, introduce yourself, let us know where you're watching from, let us know if you have any questions or comments, and we'll be posting links and polls throughout today's broadcast. Okay, without further ado here, let's get into today's session and our wonderful guest. Today we'll be talking to Kechia Taylor about how to enhance your SEO. Kechia comes with years of experience in the beauty industry with a specialty in SEO. So without further ado, please welcome Kechia Taylor to our iconic 24 session. Hey, Kechia.
Hi, Manuel. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here. Thanks, Vagaro, for having me.
Yeah, of course. So we only have 45 minutes in today's session, and I definitely want to make sure everybody knows about your amazing story, amazing experience. So why don't we start off there? Can you tell us a little bit about your journey in the beauty industry? What inspired you to become an SEO? Let us know a little bit more about you.
Okay, so when I first started off in the beauty industry, was over 20 years ago, actually. I can't even believe it's been that long. But I just always had a passion for design, art, and fashion. And I went to school for graphic design. And I didn't know where I was going to take the graphic design field. I didn't know if I wanted to work somewhere and be a graphic designer or if I wanted to be a fashion illustrator. But beauty kind of fell in my hands. So years down the line after I graduated, I opened up my first spa, which was an Aveda concept. Did that for about 5 years and then got into brow artistry. Long story short, brow artistry took off. I left that design career back in the dust and just been in the beauty industry ever since then. As far as my specialty in SEO, it came with learning graphic design. So I always knew SEO, but I used my power of knowing SEO to build my beauty business from the ground up.
Yeah, I feel like all of those fields are pretty related to each other, still in the aesthetic kind of like creative world, whether you're designing something or implementing kind of like a new hairstyle or brow style or something like that. It's definitely still complements each other, right?
Yes, for sure. Like having a design or art, I would say an artistry background really helped me dive into the beauty industry and just instead of creating art through the screen, I just created with the eyebrows.
Yeah, and you have this specialty in SEO. You said kind of came from necessity, almost like, hey, I needed to start marketing myself as this artist, and you kind of fell into it. Which one do you like more now? Is it kind of like more in the analytical side or more in the creative artistry side?
I like the more analytical side only because I always feel lost when I'm not looking at some type of analytics. But I love the beauty side too. But of course, you have to be able to build your beauty business. So I have to focus a lot on the analytical side in order to grow my beauty business.
It kind of sounds like you can't have one without the other. I kind of made you choose which one is your favorite, but I guess nowadays, if you're in the beauty
Yeah.
industry, you also have to dive into some of your reporting and start growing your business. And talking about growing businesses, you've worked with so many businesses out there. Can you share any stories that stand out to you, a success story, or any sort of like smaller anecdotes that kind of just stand out?
Yes, of course. So I teach permanent makeup. So most of the time I'm honing in on my permanent makeup students. So we have like a 98% success rate with permanent makeup students. And I can tell you every student here that I trained in the DMV is like top here. So not only do I train them in permanent makeup, but also train them with their website and SEO as well. But after they graduate and they need tips and tricks on how to grow their beauty business because at that time when they graduate they don't have a clientele, but the success stories are they open up their businesses. Like I
Mhm.
said, most of them are very successful, and I would say most of them are about about 45 minutes away from me. So I'm in the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And most of the permanent makeup artists in the area come from Brows and Company. So that's one of my success stories. A couple of years ago, I honored like the top 10 artists in the DMV, which came from Browsing Company. And it was an exciting time. And I'm just glad that everyone's doing well and took my training and skyrocketed to the next level.
Yeah. You said a 98% success rate. Is that like
Yeah.
graduation percentage or that?
Graduation percentage of those who graduate my program are
Mhm.
able to start their own businesses. So a
And
lot of them are in studio suites.
yeah,
A couple of them have full-blown salons.
got it, got it. So a lot of them are coming in without having even started their own business. They're kind of just learning from you. And then the 98% success rate is they end up starting their own business after coming and receiving training from you.
Yes, because we try to get them to start their business before they graduate so that when they graduate, they already have a signed lease and they're ready to go so that their education dollars don't go to waste.
Yeah, I'm sure we have a few listeners who are thinking about starting a business or in that kind of like position where they're maybe in the industry, maybe as a renter or some sort of like 1099 employee and thinking like, should I start my own business here? So let us know in the comments if you're thinking about starting your own business. I'm sure Keisha would be interested in hearing from you all. Um,
Okay.
so now that we're talking about some of those stories of you meeting with a lot of these local businesses or local entrepreneurs, can you tell us the most common challenge that these businesses are facing? What are some of the similarities that you see across the board? Some challenges, some frustrations, or even if it's a mindset, what are some similar
Yeah.
things that you're finding
Of
across the
course. So
board?
some of the challenges that most of beauty business owners are facing right now is zoning into their local market, like
Mhm.
trying to be available to everybody instead of just looking at your 15 to 20-mile radius. So I'm feeling like that's a challenge because people really don't understand that your local market is really important to zone in on because those are the ones that's typically going to visit you all the time versus someone that's coming an hour and a half to 2 hours away. So that's one of the challenges that I'm seeing. Another challenges that I'm seeing is um, just because we're so involved with the artistry that we're not really paying attention to the back end systems that we need to grow. So that's another challenge that I see that we're running into as beauty industry pros.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just reminded me of this. I don't know where I heard this or where I said this, but it was saying if your customer is everyone, then you're already kind of setting yourself up for failure. You should know exactly who your customers are. And you should probably try and focus in on the customers that are already coming over to you and focus on your local customer base. So that's really interesting that you're kind of like emphasizing that point there where you should know who your customers are. Yeah, and on that note, you've helped so many businesses help boost their SEO ranking, help drive more traffic over to them. Have you noticed any sort of like common trends when it comes to local SEO and mistakes or challenges that they might be facing? And how does your program specifically help them address those challenges?
Yes, I feel like today most beauty business pros are not focusing in on their local market. So trying
Mhm.
to focus on everywhere else. But some people are just not aware that they can focus just on their local market, which
Yeah,
is about 15 to 20 miles from their business location. And another challenge I see that we are having in the industry is partnerships, like not utilizing local partnerships. And that could be anywhere from participating in community events, doing drives, like, like now back to school, you could do a back to school drive. And that kind of is a offline um, part of like local SEO, like an offline strategy of local SEO. But that's a challenge that I'm seeing people face is not being able to zone in on their local market.
yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like the online approach, making sure that digitally you're targeting your local market and also in person you're targeting these people that are in close proximity to you. So two of the same strategies, just two different demographics, or I guess same demographic, but just two different ways of targeting them.
Yeah.
It, how do you, I mean, I guess we'll talk more about this in the future though. How do you approach that? Let's say a professional kind of comes up to you and says, I need help with local SEO. How does your program specifically kind of evaluate their target marketing? And then how does it help them?
Yes. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at how their website is optimized and structured and making sure that it's optimized for local SEO because some people may just have some things on it and have their city and state, but it's not really optimized for local SEO. So looking at their website pages to make sure that they're optimized and Google business profile, like that's the easiest
Mhm.
thing that anybody can do to start to show up in local search. And I feel like that's one um, free tool that
Mhm.
people aren't utilizing
Yeah.
100%. Like they have it, but they're not utilizing it. So if you have your website optimized for local SEO and you're working on your Google business profile, those two are working together to boost you up in the search. So that is what I recommend in the beginning before we get into everything else because there's other things that's
Yeah.
technical, but those are the two things that you can work on today to kind of boost your rankings in local search.
Yeah, those kind of seem like the fundamental things there, like, hey, before we start talking about the advanced SEO, you got to make sure that Google knows your address.
Yes,
Very, very simple thing.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's great. I mean, let's kind of, I'd love to like ask some of the audience members if some of you, have you guys already listed your business on Google? Have some of the businesses already done that? If you're in the chat, please let us know if that's something that you've also struggled with. But keeping on going on that topic there, can you share maybe a specific example of a business that you've helped maybe recently or in the past that specifically stands out to you as I helped this business do this and this specific thing helped increase their SEO ranking or helped increase the traffic over to their business? What would that thing be? Or if you could remember a story.
Yeah, it's like going back and fixing like their meta tags, like to focus on their actual city and state that they're serving.
Mhm.
And also myself, because I just moved locations and that was a lot to go back to my website and put in the new address and the new city and the new
Yeah,
everything. And
that's right.
also like it was kind of like starting all over again and fooling with Google Business Profile, like it's a lot when you go in there and you start changing things.
Mhm.
Um, I've been through so many things with them. They even like shut my account down because I was trying to change everything at once.
Yeah.
But building it back up and making sure that everything is optimized, but encouraging people like my students like encouraging people to like leave reviews get reviews. Reviews are like one of the things that they're looking at to boost you up in search. But people are not really, it's two things you have to do. Like you have to leave reviews on Google first and then copy and paste them and then leave them into the booking platform, which is Vagaro. Like people just leave it at one
Yeah,
and
yeah.
don't tell them to copy and paste in the other one. So you kind of need both of them to be working for you in order to boost yourself in search. If a client is already leaving a review in Vagaro, just ask them to copy and paste in Google and vice versa.
Yeah, I love that. And I like that you mentioned that these are things that work for you because you don't just talk the talk here, you walk the walk. Like you were saying, you were getting in Google and you were playing around with some of those
Mhm.
configurations to make sure that they are what actually work. And you're the perfect case study for your own kind of project here to make sure that hey, I did it. It worked for me. I know it's going to work for you because here's why. So that's a great thing to bring up. You mentioned also getting reviews on multiple platforms. Just want to highlight that, yeah, you could absolutely get reviews on Vagaro and use things like email
Mhm.
and text marketing campaigns to kind of encourage customers to leave you those reviews, which Keisha has mentioned help kind of boost your SEO online, which makes sense. The more people are talking about you and recommending you, the chances are that other customers will probably find you and see those recommendations. I think we could all relate to kind of going to a restaurant and wanting to go to a restaurant not based off of how close it is to me, but that and how many people are reviewing it, how many people are actually saying good things about it. How would you address on the flip side there some negative reviews? Is there some strategies that you have in place to kind of help you address the negative reviews as well as the impact that positive reviews could have on you?
Yeah, I recommend responding to reviews right away if you can, but before 24 hours is up, because when someone is leaving a negative review, they're going through something at that time. So you want to try to address it as soon as possible. But when addressing the negative review, you want to make sure that your tonality is
Mhm.
really calm, because people do read your responses to the negative review. So
Mhm.
you always want to address them by name. You always know who leave a negative review, unless you're like a restaurant and you're having like thousands of people
People,
coming in. You already know who left a negative review. So
yeah,
you always want to address them by, their name, like thank you for coming to, like, whatever name of your business, whether
yeah,
you're leaving a whether they're leaving a good or a bad review. You always want to thank them by their name, their first name, or their last name, like Mr. or Mrs. And then your company, like thank you for visiting XYZ salon in blank Maryland, like, because
yeah.
that's a part of like local SEO. You always got to mention your city or state, and
Oh,
just
even the text within the response?
yes, like
I
thank you, Emmanuel, for visit and browsing company. We're here to serve you, help you in the Maryland area. Unfortunately, this happened, that happened, and then just explain yourself and just offer, them to come in or get on a call with them. Just make it calm, like really make it calm, and that review will be fine. And then eventually, the more reviews you get, it'll push that bad review to the bottom, but the review will never get erased. So just
yeah.
know that you can call Google 100,000 times and they will never erase the review.
Oh, that's a good point. Does anybody else listening in have some stories about calling Google and trying to remove a review? I know that's definitely a hot topic there. But while they're commenting on the chat there, I definitely you covered a couple key points here. One, honestly, I feel like I'm learning so much already. So thank you, Keisha. But to think that even the text that you're inputting in a reply to a customer helps like your ranking on Google, like it takes that into account, which is interesting to think about. And another one is the struggle to or the details that are involved with responding to a negative or positive review. Sometimes it can be hard to think about what to tell these customers. And I want to tell everybody listening that Vagaro AI is here to help you with this. So you could go into Vagaro, and within your little reply to them, you'll see this little AI button. It's a little blue button with some stars. And you could use AI to help you generate a pretty good response. And you could change the tone, like Keisha was talking about, to be more professional, more empathetic, whatever it is that kind of models your branding. So definitely utilize that tool, because we know responding to reviews is a real thing. I think every business kind of deals with answering the good ones and responding to the bad ones. So that's really cool. And now, since I'm on the topic of AI, or actually, Keisha, I guess I'll mention: have you used that feature yet on the responding to reviews using
Uh-huh.
the
I just always use the AI feature
Mhm, mhm.
anywhere that I can, because it takes like some thought out of it.
Yeah,
But I just go back in and put their name, and then, make sure my company is there. Like, thanks for visiting Browsing Company
yeah.
in Danvers, Maryland. And then I go ahead and use what the AI says. And then you can just go ahead and, reprompt it if it doesn't sound. But Vagaro does pretty well with how it sounds. I mean, if you're in a hurry, it sounds fine to just
Yeah.
go ahead and use it if you can't respond back with your name or their name and the name of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely, I mean, as much as I'd like to say that AI is going to be 100%, I definitely would still recommend proofreading it, making sure that it fits your kind of like the tone that you're going for, that branding element that they might want to include a specific word, they might want to include a specific way of saying thing, but the AI is a great way to get you 80% of the way there. And I know I use AI. I use ChatGPT like everybody else, and I use any sort of AI functionality or tool that I get my hands on. I mean, if you're not, you're kind of falling behind the curve here.
Yeah,
Uh,
you have to be using it.
Yeah. So since we're on the topic of AI, I definitely wanted to keep going with that. Are there other forms of AI that you use on a regular to kind of like optimize your everyday work experience or anything related to AI to help boost your optimization?
Yes, I use AI for everything. I incorporate AI in my business because I need to save time.
Mhm.
So I use AI images if I can. It's a variety of things you can do with AI images. I think we talked about this before, like using AI images over stock photography because they look more realistic if you can prompt the AI correctly.
Yeah.
So definitely using AI for images, using AI to help you with email. Like you said, don't rely solely on it. It's always good to type up what you need into the AI and
Mhm.
then ask them to keep what you have, but make it sound like more professional, more fun, more exciting. Like you really have to feed AI the way you want it to talk as if it was you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only as powerful as the prompt that you give it. It really depends on what questions or what prompts you're giving the AI. Absolutely. You mentioned images though, which is surprising to me, which is really it's a cool new thing to bring up. And honestly,
Mhm.
it really is impactful to think about the images that you're putting online and how they're representing your business. And I know for sure in the businesses that I've worked with, things as simple as adding images to services, adding images to memberships, adding images to their portfolio, or just adding business images in general. Businesses struggle with that. And to be able to utilize AI to generate these on brand images, I didn't even think about that. So that's definitely a great takeaway from today's presentation, today's kind of workshop is using AI to generate some images. What can you
Yeah.
give us a tip about what exactly you're typing in, like for your business specifically? I know you can't just go in there and say, like, give me salon images. Like, what is an exact text prompt that you might use to specifically give you the images that you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm telling AI. So it depends on what you need. Like for me, I like different ethnicities. I like to target different groups. So whatever I'm looking for, I prompt the AI to like say what type of woman I'm looking for. If I want them to have a button, a white shirt, red
Mhm.
lipstick, a bob cut, and thick brows. And then I will further prompt it to say, um, it makes sure that the image lighting is coming from like a Canon 70D camera. Then I will get real specific so that the image, you always want to say realistic
Mhm.
photo image. And you
Yeah.
could say Vogue editorial style. Like you can really go into prompting to get really good images. Don't just settle for what AI. You can change the color of the hair, the style of the hair if you want someone that have highlights, if you want a bob length or hair down the shoulder or braids, it's going to give you a whole bunch of different images, and then you can take those images and tell them to create more out of the one that you do like it'll
Mhm.
give you 4 or 5 different images. You could say, okay, I like one, give me different variations of that one.
Oh, I like that. Man, you could come up with the training just on how to create text prompts
I
for an
do. I have one.
Yeah, nice.
I do
No, that's
have
very
one.
interesting.
Yep.
You said so many things that I didn't even think about. You said,
Yeah.
like, I was thinking, the texture of the hair and maybe the color of the hair, but you one is like, she has to have, some thick eyebrows, give her some high cheekbones, give her some red
Mhm.
lipstick. What is she
Yep.
wearing?
You could
Um,
say age, like between ages 30 to 40. Like you can really get creative. You can even say, I want her to have like some diamond earrings on and posed in front of a Santa Rolls Royce, and it's gonna give you that picture. It's gonna give you
so
that picture.
Absolutely. So for those Vagaro businesses listening, I definitely don't want to hear any more excuses for having an empty photo gallery or empty photos in their services. Keisha just gave you the secret recipe to quick. I mean, how long does it take for you to have quite a few images to upload? Is it how like time
Oh,
intensive
like
is
it,
this?
if you're new to it, it take about 10 minutes. And so that's what I do. I go through the workshop with you and we actually create AI images together based on what you want for
Nice.
your gallery or your profile, or even of yourself, like, or even of yourself if you want an AI image of yourself. So in using your branding colors as well with
Mhm.
that. So for your first time, it only takes about 10 minutes. I mean, AI is like this, but
Yeah.
when you want to keep repeating different prompts and adding different things, like you might be like, oh, I like this picture, but
Yeah.
I wish she had a diamond necklace. So I
Yeah.
like this picture, but I wish her skin had like a glow on her cheeks or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really want to emphasize this because I mean, the industry is such a visual industry. Can you talk a little bit about the impact of having these images? What sort of impact will it have on someone looking for them online? I mean, we eat with our eyes first here, so I could definitely think of some, but can you speak to that a little bit more about the impact that having great images has on someone who might be looking for them online?
Yeah, because great images is a part of your branding. So you want to make sure that you have nice images. I'm not a fan of stock photography because it looks like, I
You
mean,
could
it's
tell.
okay in some cases, but it might be someone smiling like,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
so I'm not a fan of stock photography, but I feel like the images are a big part of your brand and they help someone feel a certain type of way about your business, the value of your business or the perceived value of your business. And the more you work on your images, the better visually your business look. Now, it might be a mess inside, but if you can look good visually, you will get people responding to
Mhm.
those images. A picture is still
Yeah.
worth 1,000 words.
Mhm.
Um, so it, it's very important to have good images, and they don't have to be AI. They can be straight from your photographer. I'm a fan of original images as well, like having your own original images. And if
Mhm.
you can, like, get a photographer to shoot a whole bunch of images
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you, or go shoot it yourself. Like, it's so easy these days to take your phone and really go out here and really get some good photos of your work and branded images. And so visually, you need good images.
Yeah, yeah.
And good lighting for the images, that's important too.
I love that you touched on, AI could help you create some high quality images within a short amount of time. But you talked about the almost the realisticness of them, or like, hey, just because if you're presenting yourself online one way, you do want the in-person version of these things to kind of match. Could you
Mhm.
speak to that a little bit? Have you ever worked with someone where they're really embellishing their images online, but then it doesn't match their actual customer experience when they come in? How do you help a business who's saying like, "Hey, I created all of these." I'll even create a scenario. "Hey, I'm a business. I created all of these amazing AI generated images," but then businesses or customers are saying that they're coming in and they're not actually seeing what they see online. How would you address that situation?
Yeah, so you wanna look like what you're putting out there. Like, if your business is not here, then don't look for these super duper, like, edited AI images that look like they came straight out of Vogue magazine. Like, really say where your business level is. If you are a new beginner, have basic photos. If you are a luxury, brand, then have those type of luxury images. So go with the flow of your business. Try not to go away from your business. So if you're doing, saying, I'm trying to think, like braids, don't have images of someone with bobs that look, like, on this level. Like, try to still stick to what your brand is. Like, don't go outside of your brand. Don't try to create something that you're not. Always
Yeah,
stick to authenticity.
yeah,
Because AI images, if you don't know how to do it right, it can come across fake and
yeah,
not look real. And we don't want that. No business want
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Which is why you got your course to show them how to do it right.
Exactly, because we do our research on your business
Yeah.
and we help you formulate that.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like the best thing to do is, if you have the time and if you have the resources to either hire a professional photographer to take photos of your real work and make sure that it looks as professional as possible. But we understand that that's going to be, it's going to take some time, it's going to take some money. And if you don't have that, a great alternative to quickly create some professional images is to utilize that AI feature and utilizing it well, which means having a really, really good prompt, which Kechia and her team could help you out with. It sounds like they do a deep dive into the business's branding, and they essentially come up with the best prompt for you to use to generate some amazing images. Did I get that right,
Yes,
Kechia?
you got it. You got it right. So, yeah, we do our research on your type of business and we look into your branding and everything. And then we tailor images to what you're doing and make sure that it matches your company brand and that it's not excelling where you are. So, like I said, if you're just a newbie, then let's give you some newbie images. But they still look great, but let's, work with what you have first.
Absolutely. And now switching topics a little bit here and going back to all of the experience that you have working with these businesses. Are you noticing any sort of like trends or any sort of like, yeah, up and coming trends in the beauty industry that you kind of want to spotlight and mention over to the people who are tuning in? What sorts of exciting things are you noticing change within the industry?
Yeah, I'm noticing like people are more in tune to the customer experience. So I'm noticing that. And that really shouldn't be a trend, but I'm
A new
noticing like
thing? Yeah,
more
yeah.
of that. I'm definitely noticing more of that being a trend. I'm noticing from an educator standpoint that people are less into digital courses and more into workshops and challenges. So that's another trend that I'm seeing. So for those who want to educate but can't do a full blown course, like doing like a small 1 day or 2 day workshop, that's really becoming one big trend or a challenge. Like maybe, like, okay, like me, like doing a brow challenge, like a 3 day brow challenge to draw some brows or something like that. So creating a challenge is actually becoming more trendy than an actual course. So
Yeah.
now you don't have to have all these modules. So that's one big trend on like the educator side that I see. And then, like I said, customer experience. And I'm seeing like more partnerships, like people collaborating. That's becoming a big trend. And I'm seeing like more beauty brands introduce like their own e-commerce. So
Wow.
that's another trend that I'm seeing.
E-commerce challenges, workshops, and are these things having an effect on people's SEO? Like, do they have any? Like, if I diversify the services that I'm offering, if I offer workshops along with my services, if I start offering classes, do these things help me rank more online, or do I kind of just stay the same?
No, they do help you rank more, but again, you still gotta focus on that market. Like you still gotta make sure that you're optimized when you're putting these courses and products, like
Yeah,
listing your products. Like you still gotta make sure you're optimized for SEO.
yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't even, if people don't know what SEO is search engine
Oh,
optimization.
yeah.
I didn't even explain
Beginning.
that. Yeah. So whatever you do digitally, you have to do it for SEO. Even if you post on TikTok and Instagram, you want to make sure that your content is focusing on SEO because pretty soon, like searching for things is gonna, well, it's already started like AI search.
Mhm.
So now instead of like AI has become your competitor as well. So when
Mhm.
people are searching for a business, AI is giving them the information because we as businesses aren't keeping up with AI and we're not doing the things that people used to tell us a long time ago, like blog. Because if you blog and you answer questions, then when someone search, AI will pull from that blog. But now you're competing with AI in search. So now you got to do a little bit more now.
Yeah, so it sounds like you kind of want anything that you're putting out there to kind of resonate or echo your brand or your messaging. And the more content you put out there, whether that's a blog or a photo or a service menu or a class or a workshop or what have you, those things kind of like slowly add these little tallies to how much you are weighted online.
Yeah, they
That's
have to
how I
be
understand it, correct?
optimized for SEO. Like I said, some people just think like a 15-minute video don't
Mhm.
need to be SEO, but if you want to show up in Google, it's ways that you can if you just
Yeah.
SEO that video instead
Mhm.
of just letting it like fly out here in space. A
Yeah.
couple of seconds more, you can just SEO it. And if you embed it on your website, then there you go. You're already
Mhm.
ranked.
And it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is like my understanding of SEO here, and you could definitely give some tips and tricks is any content that you put out there, you want to optimize it in the sense that whatever search engine is essentially looking for you knows what content it's looking at. So exactly like a video itself, by without any tags, the search engine might not know what kind of video this is or what's the topic of this video. So that's what we mean by like SEO it or SEO optimize it, or if you put out some written content, there's a way. You probably have some tips and tricks, but the search engine that's searching your written content essentially needs to know what topics that written content is related to, so that it could rank you higher. Am I understanding that correctly, or is there
Yeah.
specific tips and tricks on images versus text versus video?
It's definitely tricks on images, like naming your images according to locally. Like if you
Mhm.
have your image and it's maybe a hairstyle that
Yeah,
you've done, you always want to name that image to your city,
I
state,
see.
because that'll pull, well, your business, the city, and the state, because
Mhm.
that will pull it from search. So, or you always want to do your alt text, depending what platform you have. So when you're on Google and you search under images, and you
Mhm.
don't see images of your business, that's because you never changed the name of the image, or you never had alt text. So
Yeah,
um, like if you search your name or something and you go under images and that person name come up, it's because
yeah,
they have images with their name named in that particular file, that particular JPEG or
yeah.
PNG file. Yeah.
There, I mean, I would like if I was a business and I was, I'm kind of like eating up everything that you're saying. Do you, in part of your program, do you offer any sort of like handouts or kind of like cheat sheets to be like, hey, I'm about to upload a photo. What's a checklist of things for you to
Yes.
make this is optimal?
I have a free SEO online and offline downloadable. So you can get
Nice.
that from our website at
Yeah,
vagaro.com/SEO for the beauty pro. And we have that actual download so that you can see, some tips and tricks on what you need to do. But as far as images, another thing is when you're taking images with your phone, make
mhm,
sure that they're in the place that you say your business is, because if you're uploading to Google Business Profile pictures that's not in your location, you can see like that from the geotag from the photos. So taking pictures with your phone inside of your business is always a plus, and then uploading them to Google like right away.
it sounds like I mean, when it comes to SEO, it sounds like, there's a little bit of fine tuning that you have to do with a lot of these elements. I'd love to hear
Mhm.
if anyone in the comments here could comment in any sort of like tips and tricks that they've had some success on when it comes to like optimizing any sort of videos or text or anything that they're uploading online. And while they're doing that, Keisha, could you
Mhm.
help us kind of like identify some common misconceptions around things that people think boost your SEO but don't actually boost or have any effect on your SEO? Have you noticed anything that businesses be like, "Oh, I do this," and you've had to kind of be the bearer of bad news to be like, "Oh, actually, that doesn't help you at all. What you want to do is do this instead."
Yeah, like, okay, so the one thing was the images. Like, I always feel like that's one thing that people always miss. They're like, well, how does that help me? And I'm like, well, if you name it, you'll be able to be found. Um, people always think that blogging doesn't work. And, some people always say, I don't have time to write, but
Mhm.
blogging does work. You just have to, it's a long strategy, like a long term strategy. We have our quick strategies and we have our long term strategies. So blogging does work, but you cannot copy a chat GPT. You'll get dinged in search for that. You do gotta write like original content,
Yeah, yeah.
but at the end of the day, blogging is one of the best ways to boost. And I always feel like people always say, "No, blogging don't help." You
Yeah.
know, um, people feel like social media is like a quicker way to get more clients,
Mhm.
but SEO is a longer, more
Mhm.
sustainable way to get clients. So I'm still battling with people about that. Like, you know, they
Yeah, yeah.
think that social media is the win and that's it. And then when Instagram shut down and you don't have your email list or you never did that lead generation or the funnel page that you were supposed to do, then you don't have another way to like reach your clients. So I would say you need both, but definitely doing the SEO as a long-term strategy will, even if I stopped doing social media for a while, but because I invested into SEO, I'm
Mhm.
good. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the amount of traffic that you could receive on like some sort of like web platform versus a social platform. I mean, not that one is better than the other. There's case by case. They probably both complement each other, but forgetting about one entirely and focusing on another is kind of like limiting yourself. And why do that? Definitely here to help increase your online presence. And in order to increase, you got to kind of like put yourself where you're not, or start advertising yourself in places where you wouldn't have normally. So I definitely agree with you on that one, Keisha. The
yeah.
more platforms you're advertising yourself and the more strategic you are with these platforms, the better. And one of the cool ways that you could kind of use Vagaro to tie into this or speak to some of this is on Vagaro, we have a lot of reports that show you where your appointments are coming from. So
Mhm.
it's one thing to optimize yourself online, and it's another to make sure that you're actually that optimization is actually coming in and turning into appointments on your calendar. You want to make sure that you could see, hey, I started advertising myself on Google or on Yelp or on whatever social platform, and I'm seeing these appointments being booked on Vagaro. So you definitely want to make sure that those two are speaking to each other. So I definitely agree with you on that, Keisha. Oh, looks like we might have lost Keisha there. All right. Are we gonna are we gonna be able to get her back? Okay. Yeah, let's just give her a few more minutes here. Technical difficulties happen here and there. This gives me an opportunity to engage with the audience here. So anybody else have any interesting stories about when they might have been live and talking like in a workshop or something and your interviewer kind of dropped off here? I'd love to hear more about those stories. It looks like she might be okay. That was fast. She's coming back. Cool. All right. So Keisha, let's pick things back up where they left off. All right. We only have 45 minutes here. Let's jump right back in.
Okay.
So Keisha, you have so many cool techniques and advice for us. The next question I have is involved in the tools that you use. Do you have any suggestions for any sort of like tools that you couldn't live without that you use on a regular basis and how they help you out?
Yeah. Well, I can't live without Vagaro. That's one of
Yeah,
the
of
tools that I
course. Come
use
on. Come on.
because all my appointment bookings come through Vagaro. Some of the features that I love using over there is the daily deal feature and the email and just the reporting overall. So that's definitely like one feature that I can't live without. I mean, well, one, two, I can't live without. The other three are like Google Analytics,
Mhm.
which you can hook your Vagaro page, not your website, but your booking page into Google Analytics so you can actually see what's going on and get some history on where your clients are actually coming from. I
Yes.
can't live without Google Search Console because
Mhm.
I need to make sure that my website is optimizing at its highest performance. And then I can't live without Google Trends because this is where I type in what I do to see the trends in the market. And anybody can do this, and these are free tools. AI, I can't live without Chat GPT. I can't live without Jasper, which is AI, and Mid Journey for my AI images. I definitely can't live without that. Um, but those are the tools that I
Yeah,
can't live
I hope those people listening right now are taking notes on those tools because you definitely dropped in a lot of great tools for people to utilize on a regular basis. And you've mentioned website quite a few times, and kind of I forgot to mention, yeah, absolutely, you could start building websites through Vagaro as well. Those of you who might have already seen or are interested in, definitely check out our My Site, which is a great way for you to get a website up and running in a few minutes. So if you don't have a website, talk about SEO optimization. You need a website to have that kind of digital footprint there.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I think my site is like perfect, even if you have a website, because typically, like people, they don't know how to embed like the booking page on their actual website.
Mhm.
And so then they have like a booking link. But my site, the booking is already embedded
Yep.
versus, based on your services that you offer. And then you can use your My Site page as your landing page to put into like Google, Yelp, Facebook, Instagram. This way, people don't have to go to your full blown website. They
Mhm.
can just go to a site, but it's more upgraded than the booking site, and you can zone in on just kind of what you do
Yeah,
versus being all over the place.
it's
Because
a great
sometimes your website will take you everywhere except where you're supposed to be.
it's a great way to have your booking system and your website just quickly, seamlessly integrated with each other. And I'm
Yes.
definitely a huge fan about my site. But enough about us. Kechia, what's the next step for you? Where do you see yourself going? What are some new exciting projects that you have down the line? I know you have an exciting coaching program with the Icons coaches. How's that going for you?
It's going great. It's called SEO for the Beauty Pro. So for those who want to dive into SEO and focus on a SEO strategy, a local SEO strategy for your beauty business and start showing up in search,
Yes.
you can go to my website at vagaro.com/SEO for the Beauty Pro. And everything that I talked about, I offer it there on the website. So the AI image workshop, um, basically like analyzing like your Google business profile, also like making sure that we build like a landing page for your business so that you can use it as your top of funnel to get people in your business. Like I said, your website does this part on its own, but you still need a way to get people into your business. So definitely like a landing page. That's one of my favorites to use, like on sites like Instagram and Yelp and TikTok and stuff like that. Like you don't want them going to your full blown website. You want them to go and take an action. So those are some of the things that I offer, and you could just contact me through that page, and we can, get something started and start growing your business organically and get you showing up in local search results.
I see we're actually running out of time in the chat today. Believe it or not, we could speak to you for hours here, but I want to make sure that everybody has your contact details. Now, where could people go to find you and follow you online, Kechia?
Yes, they can find me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com under Kechia, Kechia Taylor. And they could go ahead and follow me on Instagram under Kechia Taylor. And you can go to the Vagaro Icon Coach Program, which is vagaro.com/SEO for the Beauty Pro. And you can reach me any of those ways and we can talk.
That's great. Thank you for sharing again. And also to the audience, also make sure to follow Vagaro at Vagaro Pro and keep up with all of the iconic 2024 sessions we've got running every single Monday in September, and attend 3 days for a chance to win an exclusive giveaway. And make sure not to miss out Vagaro CEO Fred Halou's keynote in September 30th. That's all the time we have for today. So thank you for tuning in, everyone, and stay iconic.
Thank you.